pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our IT guy, we got this.
What happened? We got no sound IT. We put the quarter inside the mic? Oh.
Welcome back, everybody.
Come on. You turn the power button on.
The power button's on, the live button's on. It can't be because, maybe it's because I'm so quiet.
You turn it on? Oh, it's off, that's why.
That's a hint.
Here you go, save me.
See that? We're ironing out the plug for another year.
Definitely a hint.
Plug it in, turn it on.
There we go, big power button.
Oh,
There we go.
All right. Rachel Chalesky.
Here.
Gladys Cooper.
Here.
Richard Hawley. He's not here. Rich Janelli. He's not here. Patrick Johnston.
Here.
Fred Corrett.
Here.
Kathy Molinaro.
Here.
Manuela Palmeras.
Here.
Carly Santos said he was going to be late. And Amy Scalino.
Here.
All right.
Okay. Recognitions.
You want, yeah, we can have this.
Yes. Yes. Representative Ferguson and Senator McLaughlin. And who's ever supposed to come up for our Teacher of the Year award, please step forward.
Why don't you come on forward up here? Up here. Right in the center. Right in the Coliseum.
All right. Michael, bring in the Lions.
I said it's really bad when half the board is your former students.
We want to congratulate you first before you go back. Miss Ellen Myers, she's our Teacher of the Year from Broadview.
Congratulations.
You did, huh?
You put me
I'm
on
gonna have to
the secretary. Put me
Wow.
on the fast track.
She double promoted you to get you out. We have an introduction, Edie, and then we'll have the plaque.
You know, there's so many aspects of my job that I love, and this has to be one of the best ones where you get to acknowledge a colleague and their hard work. And I say the introduction for Ellen is very simple. You go to Broadview, 6:30 in the morning, she's one of the first cars there. That's Ellen. When you get ready to leave at the end of the day, and you've got a car there around 5 o'clock, depends on if math counts on, 6 o'clock, that's Ellen Meyer. She is so dedicated to what she does. I always said too, if I had her as a math teacher, I would have probably been extraordinary in math. I'm not, but I try my best. She doesn't let kids quit. They struggle, but they don't quit. And that's because she's dedicated and she's amazing. One of the things that I love, that I didn't think I would ever love, is going to her, she is the coordinator of team, math counts and a math team at Broadview. And let me say this, and I am going to brag. We had a competition. We were against Brookfield, Ridgefield, and Newtown. And I'm not going to tell you who came in first. We did. We came in first, and we took first place out of all those cities. So we're really proud of that. And in math counts, we came in second place.
That's a national, that was huge. These are private schools and things that
We love it.
our teachers couldn't send the other so
Absolutely.
That's true.
And the best part about it is I didn't think that a math team meet would be just like a football game. You're there and you're rooting, the kids are screaming, they're having a good time, I'm having a good time, and we enjoy it. We couldn't have picked a better person to represent us. And we just found out too that on Friday, she will be representing us for state level. Right? That Ellen Meyer. Meyer, she's not plural.
You want to read the proclamation?
So
So just, it's great to be here and to recognize you with an official state of Connecticut citation. Unfortunately, I didn't go to Broadway, so I didn't have a chance to have you as a teacher, but we've had others who have, and look, he's on the board of ed, so it all worked out great. Well, good. As a former board member, I can say that it's fine. No, but it's great to be here, and I did have a chance to read the announcement when it was announced that you were the teacher of the year. And just something that struck me was 25 years in the district. There's the passion and dedication to Danbury and to the students within our great school district is truly incredible. And we thank you for those 25 years and dedicating that year in Danbury. Mostly at Broadview to the students at Danbury.
12-hour shifts. Can you imagine? 6:30 to 6:30. Still here.
And still silent.
God bless you. I got cut from the math team in the first cut. Oh, that's good. That's good. They would have cut me.
So I'd be happy just to present this and read this out loud to you. State of Connecticut General Assembly official citation introduced by myself, Senator McLaughlin, and the entire Danbury delegation. Be it hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Ellen Meyer in recognition of receiving Danbury Teacher of the Year 2018-19. Throughout your 25 years of dedicated service, you have displayed a commendable passion for enriching the lives of your students. The benevolence and understanding you have displayed in and out of the classroom is exemplary. The Danbury delegation would like to thank you for your tireless efforts and congratulate you on this fine achievement. We wish you the very best in your future endeavors. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Given this 12th day of September 2018 at the state capitol in Hartford, Connecticut, and it is signed by the President Pro Tem, the Speaker of the House, and the Secretary of the State. Congratulations.
Jeez, right? I don't think you heard, but there's 169 towns, and they all submitted a comprehensive application. Huge. Everybody doesn't. And she was very diligent, and now she's been selected as a semifinalist. Which means she will go out there and has a chance to become the teacher here for the entire Connecticut. So that will start on Friday. So congratulations. That's awesome. You guys did
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For everything you've done. Okay. Further recognitions. Danbury High School freshman. I hope I say this right. Rishi Parikh.
Come on, Frank, would you introduce and talk a little bit about the program?
Hi everybody, I'm Frank McLaughlin, principal of Westside Middle School Academy. It's great to be here with Kushi Day, who's now a freshman at Danbury High School. Last year, Kushi conducted an independent science research project as part of the work we do at our school that all students complete, and she was recognized as really the top performing student in the state of Connecticut. As part of that work, she was invited to participate in the Broadcom Masters. The Broadcom Masters is the highest level of competition that a student can compete in at the national level, and she was recognized just earlier this week as a national semifinalist, so she's one of the top 300 students. The process actually goes to a finalist round, so we're going to find out next week if she made it to the finalist round at the top 40 in the country, so we'll find out how that works. Just a little bit about the project that she did. You know, we don't do volcanoes at Westside. We don't do plants under colored lights. Kushi did a project looking at image recognition for Lyme disease. She basically did some machine learning, artificial intelligence programming to identify from visual inspection whether someone might have Lyme disease from an image. So she did absolutely fabulous work. Slaughter represented us very well, and we can look forward to seeing the work she does at Shrewsbury High School as well.
Congratulations, Dr. How do you like the high school? It's wonderful. You're not allowed to go.
That's right. Congratulations.
All right. No air conditions, but then we have.
They're all proud of it.
Oh, thank you. That's great.
Can I say a few words?
Yes, let's use the speaker. Come on, I'm sorry.
Block one.
Alan,
Probably. Far one.
In the back. there's one.
No, other side. Other side. All right, you have to get the award back.
Yes.
There you go.
So, whenever I talk about my project, I usually use the word "my," and that's the wrong word to use there, because before I take ownership, this project belongs to my family members who helped me out so much, my school, who led me through the entire process, and to Dr. Ivanka, without whom I could not be here standing today. So the project I did deals in recognizing a Lyme disease rash based on an artificial intelligence-based diagnosis. So it interprets AI as a medical ally. And hopefully in the future, you'll be able to use the AI on your phones as an application, take a photo of any suspicious rash, and determine whether or not it's Lyme disease. In Connecticut, there has been over 50,000 cases diagnosed in the last year, and 95% of cases come from the New England area. So being aware, and more than just being aware, being an active member of the public service is something that I'm really proud of, and I'm really happy that I was given the opportunity to be able to do that. So I thank you all for listening to me today, and for the opportunity to be here and create a peak moment for myself.
Frank, the board may not know, but you might want to spend a minute telling them why they came up with these projects, just when you do it. When you do it.
Sure. So the projects take place over the course of basically 16 to 18 weeks. Students, we spend a lot of time with kids, helping them develop their creativity, trying to identify a meaningful project for study. I think that's one of the biggest challenges kids have. You know, it's very easy to think about those projects that have already been done, and you do them over and over again. But we really try to stress with kids the opportunity to conduct a project that is unique, is meaningful, and has relevance. So every year we have about 150 students that complete these types of projects in science, and we have an equivalent happening in the Global Studies Academy as well, on history-based and global citizenship type projects as well. They conduct the projects, they often work with mentors, so Kushi was in contact with professors. I think both at WestCon and at UConn at some point we made a connection for her. I don't know if that ever went through. If she wants to continue, she can actually continue doing that work. We have a school-wide fair where we celebrate the work of the kids, and we identify our best projects that we send to the state level. And you know, as a principal, I had a really unique experience. Right before they were going to go to the state, Kushi and one of her friends knocks at the door of my office and says, "Can we come in and work on our project with you for a little bit?" I said, "Sure, come on in." And all of a sudden, 12 kids marched themselves into my office, and it's the first time I think 12 kids brought themselves to the principal's office. And we worked on projects with them, and they really engaged in a process of peer editing and collaboration with each other. They were giving each other feedback. They were asking me for feedback in the process, and really represented the school well. Kushi's obviously an exemplary student. She is what we hope all students become at Westside when they do project-based work, but we have a wide range of students that participate at the state level, and we were the highest performing school for the 4th year in a row at the state level.
Okay. Please do, Dr. Sal. I'd like to make that
last spring we went on a search Dr. Glass retired, and we were pleased to hire Kevin Walston, who's with us right here. Kevin, as the assistant superintendent. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
When we did some reorganization, you may know the other position that we were able to split was a director of curriculum and what do you call it? I'm calling it directly. The director of instruction and assessment K-12, Dr. Kara Kazmira. She's the we're going to hear a little bit tonight from Kevin what we've been working on. It's been kind of exciting with the reorganization and some of the movements forward, right? Edie? Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Terrific. All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you so much. Okay, public participation. Board welcomes public participation. Ask that speakers please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective comments of school operations programs that concern them. And that's fine. So first person up is, or only person up is at this point, Will Love.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You should be on.
Well, at any rate, my name is Will Love, founder of the Danbury Area Justice Network and local activist. I'm speaking tonight as a concerned community member. It has been brought to my attention that teachers, at least at the elementary level, are not properly trained on how to work with children of same-sex families, children that are gender non-conforming or transgender. I was shocked when I found this out. It's 2018 and this is the 7th largest city in Connecticut. Our students deserve better. They deserve to feel safe and accepted to be themselves, but if their teachers are ill-equipped to provide a safe space, we are failing them. I plan on doing some research of my own and speaking with a number of friends that teach all across the city for their input. My ask is that once the training is developed, that it be required for all teachers as well as administrators and facilitated through a professional development day. I look forward to taking on this challenge and making our schools more inclusive and accepting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. That was the only person on the list. Is there anyone who did not put their name on the list that wanted to speak? Anyone? Moved twice? Sold. Okay. Moving along.
All right, that the Board of Education approve the items on the consent calendar, exhibits 18-91 through 18-93 as recommended.
Seconded by Mrs. Molinaro. Any discussion?
I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Education approve the minutes, the special meeting minutes revised version that we all have in front of us.
Yes.
From July 11th.
Motion
Sorry, I
to.
can't hear.
Can you didn't hear that?
No, I did not hear that.
Okay. I'm going to repeat it. Ms. Tulski's going to make a motion
I made
to
a-
accept the special meeting minutes. Do we have a second? Seconded by Mrs. Molinaro again. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Revised meeting minutes are accepted. And then we will move to the motion regarding which one did you read? The consent calendar, right? Consent calendar. We have a motion and a second. Was there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Employee representative, spotlight your school. Have school today?
No, well, we had,
Okay, so we did
I
that.
think we're supposed to, are we supposed to talk about this?
I had exhibit 1894. That's the exhibit. And if we're going to move through with the conversation the board had last, this is what it would look like. You'd be out of school on the 26th, 28th, November, January 23rd at the school, March 27th at school, and then May 22nd. If the board wanted to do that, we would schedule, but that's our schedule. So Debbie asked me to, put it out there for you guys to discuss.
That's in reference to this.
No. Last year at the spring, I think it was Rich that said, every board meeting should be at when we celebrate a school, should be at the school site. And the board said, yeah, we ought to. So if you're going to go down that road, I think going every time would be kind of difficult. But this gets you into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 schools if you want to do that. But that's up to you. But that's why it's here.
Okay.
It had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I misunderstood there. So now, we're not actioning on this yet, right? We're just proposing
No, we're
this?
discussing it, but did we actually agree to do that, or was it just a?
That's what I mean, it was brought up for a discussion, and then, so this is what you plan, that you guys think is the best schedule?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I think it's good idea. It's really difficult
I do
to all of them. Not that because I wouldn't want you to think it's a good idea, but it is difficult to do.
Yeah.
Minimally, this would be tough on us, but we can handle this
Right.
very well.
It's busy. I'm not in agreement.
Do we-
It's just like,
Are we thinking that we may want to do it and make it less schools per year, and just do it maybe 3 times a year, and then go through this cycle over the course of several years? Do we have 16 schools?
Mr. Chairman, I can't find the paper, but I know I saw it in the back. I truly feel that, thank you. I truly feel, I don't have any problem with visiting other schools, and I think we do a great job, the school do a great job in highlighting things that are going on at our school. I think we should consider, and I'll agree with whatever the board decides, I think we should let things stay the way they are. And the reason why, and I might go back to what happened up at Danbury High School at the end of our June, when we had someone that had been here in this facility to have taken that parent over in the prospective person office and had some type of conversation, things would have been a little bit different. Now, I'm not saying it might not have changed the way things, the outcome of things, but I think when you're moving from one place to the other, if you move over to Marsh Street, you're going to sort of only get Marsh Street parents that's sort of interested in what's Marsh Street School. At least with this open environment, we have parents coming from all over the district. And I'm comfortable with let it stay the way it is.
Yes, please.
I agree with, and also just logistics-wise and for the sake of transparency, I think, and neutrality.
Okay, absolutely. Mr. Karan.
I think it's important that we keep the meetings here, but I think a compromise or an opportunity for us as a whole board to go and visit the schools, we could set something up where, even if it is according to the schedule, where an hour before our meeting, we go there and we have like a tour of the school, and then we come back here and we have our actual meetings here to, maintain some sort of consistency for the community, as well as making sure that our meetings are taking place in a proper form.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair, how about if we were to have an option for in the morning, so that we don't have to also pay more expenses with the building being open, after hours, or not. And if I could just take an opportunity in this conversation, if there's any possibility of us amending the schedule to include also a representative from the adult education program in the highlight, in the spotlight. I think that I went to their graduation last time, and I think that's really one of the jewels of our system, and we don't get to hear a lot. I mean, the work that they're doing with these kids to finish high school and their passion for the high school diploma is physically and emotionally different. And I think it would be great for them to have an opportunity to come here and also talk to us about that. So if we can just find a way to include them
We'll find it.
in the spotlight.
Dr. Sal said that he'll find a way to put that in, so I think that's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
Anybody else regarding the mobile meeting issue?
I'm not for it, for all the reasons that were stated.
Okay. So I think that we're pretty much in consensus here. I'm not opposed to that. That was, I think the salient point that was brought up here was the only thing that I was worried about, was that everybody knows how to get here, and when you start moving it from school to school, it tends to concentrate the people from that school and deflect other people away from it. So I'm in agreement. I don't think we have to do anything since.
I just want to make sure we had a conversation, and we'll modify and include adult ed, but I know we'll have a meeting.
Perfect, excellent.
Just a side on this, would it be helpful if we held some of our, just for the board, some of the sites and facilities meetings in some of the schools? Because I envision a few going forward, and I don't know if that's,
We've
I
done
think
that in the past.
yeah, I mean,
Yes,
it's a small
that's
group.
an excellent idea.
We have some challenge in space in the coming year, might be an easy thing to have some of those out.
I think that's excellent. That's a nice solution to the problem, I think. We can work on it. Great. Okay. We do not have any student reps here, but I think I have something. We have something that was, yes. So Danbury High School student reps will be attending second Board of Ed meeting each month. So that will be our future system. Presentations, if you want to see.
The next meeting we'll be talking, I think it's the next meeting, we're doing the assessment information, getting that out. We don't have anything to see.
Okay. And that'll be on the 26th.
Yeah. So that one first of October.
Okay. Moving along to action items.
Sorry, Dave.
Really, we're not going to warm up into it this year, we're just going.
Sorry, we're on
straight for
one
the
ever. It is the beverage motion, so maybe water.
Yeah, but it's not the right kind of beverages. Motion, the Board of Education to allow the sales to students of beverages not listed in section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on a weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the beverages are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. The school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the beverage sales.
Wow.
AKA so we can sell stuff at football games and concession stands.
So is this, again, this is some sort of legal
Yeah,
ease to get around the fact that we couldn't sell anything but water and milk or something?
Yeah, we have to file with the state. That's
Gotcha.
to help younger free.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Cooper will second the motion. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? None opposed. Motion carries.
All right, that the Board of Education accept the 2018 end-of-year operating results analysis general fund in accordance with 18-95.
Do we have anything to add to that? Jen?
No, it was, I think you guys know it's a complicated year. We closed in the black by about 66,000 total. That'll go back to the city. We did have a large reserve going back to health insurance. We had a lot of unanticipated claims at the end of the year, so actually the auditors are still breaking all those numbers down. So I don't anticipate a large transfer into the health insurance reserve account. We did have additional challenges in salary and grants, so as the board knows, we did everything we could. We did purchase some materials at year end. The West Side portables, the 8 classes, we bought the furniture. The deal with the city was they bought the buildings, we bought the furniture, so that was about $75,000 for those outfitted. So all in all, it was a year closed in black. It was challenging to get.
And not exactly with this motion, but the portables are?
Portables are moving along. They're on site. Foundations are in. I'm told they're going to get sited any day. Actually put into their parking places permanently. And we have an issue with the state fire marshal about getting a final approval. They wanted sprinklers, so that held us up a little bit on that because now every classroom thinks they're a door, which wasn't in the original plan.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? seconded by Ms. Tusky. We have any discussion regarding
Can
hearing?
we go over where the portables are listed again? Back in June, I put my papers in the bag and I didn't open up. So would we list where the portables, or
We put,
place the portables at?
8 of them over at West Side Academy.
Around that.
All 8 is at West Side?
Yes. Thank you, Fred. Just want to keep saying that. We have 8 of them.
8, not 6, 8.
And we have these, we accepted the 6th grade students this year, so we have 50 extra. They're now in classrooms until we, finish setting them up. The plan is for the next 2 years to roll out 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So I have 150 new students there, but it'll roll out over a 3-year period.
And do we actually have a ballpark date on the actual?
I'm shooting for the end of September, but with the rain's been challenging with weather, they're fighting some mud back there, so it's been a little few issues.
Are we having any issues with packing all the kids in?
No, we temporarily retrofitted 50 lockers, so they have lockers. I mean, everything's cool, Frank's keeping them. Furniture's ready to get delivered, everything's ready to get popped in, so we just gotta get them finished.
Excellent. We are expanding our rolling stock. All right, any further?
You've got to give Joseph credit on this. This budget really made him sick, no question. Remember, this is when we had to cut everybody out and do all that reconciling everything. He did an unbelievable job reconciling and coming out in a positive. I was really proud of him. Thank you very much. Public.
David Copperfield with money.
It was hard.
Listen, now that you started
this
off,
was fun. Next year,
you started off with that act, you think you can come up with about 16 extra million for next year?
We went to Stu and he's put some money in the wishing well.
There you go. Buying lottery tickets. All right, so we are done with, anybody else have any discussion on this? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The superintendent's report.
Yes, the start of school was a little difficult. We had to make up that day with the state. So we are now compliant. We're 181. We have 4 schools. I think 4 schools that are 3 coming in on Columbus Day. So we get the 182nd. Those schools had missed 2 days, you may recall. Right, so we're okay. So that went well. The issues that we're having, you need to know transportation-wise. We've tried to open up the same amount of buses, which was challenging. The technology, when it works, the artificial intelligence is great. But in our case, when it speaks to our, when the 2 of them interact with each other, the enrollment and transportation, it tends to want to move some stops. That seems to make sense, but in actuality, it doesn't make sense. So we had a lot of problems with stops that we've had to deal with. They're going through each of the routes. So that's been a little challenging. We also had a hiccup with our preschool, that the different programming, and when they have that all settled, we have to put special seats in these vehicles. So we just couldn't get it done. They're going to be. We called all the parents. They were to begin yesterday. They're going to begin on Monday, correct? So we did call them, and we were doing that. Parents could, want to bring them. That's up to them. So we'll start transporting them on Monday. The heat has been problematic. We talk as a group, this whole zone up here, and most of the schools follow protocol. If there's going to be a heat advisory, which means it's 95, 96 plus, we work with a medical advisor and a nursing staff, Kathy, and we make the determination to dismiss students that way. So we did that, I think, 2 days. One of the days was not an advisory. It was hot, but it wasn't an advisory. It was like 90 degrees. So we came to school, I think it was on Wednesday. So we had our first full day. Things were going better. These high school schedule, there's a new schedule on blocks, so that went well. The staffing, we have hiring update here. I'll let Kim deal with that. I mean, we had it all nice and organized and when we left, but the last week or 2 of school, people accepted jobs and they left, which was kind of unethical in my view. And we talked to other superintendents in the area, they've had a similar problem, but we did have that happen, so we're backfilling. The elementary is not as difficult to fill sometimes, but the high school, with chemistry teachers and biology teachers and specialists, is somewhat difficult. We lost speech and language, 2 or 3 the last week, that they are really in a shortage area. So, we're out there recruiting and trying to fill those empty spots. Anything else on that? Yeah, general on hiring.
Yeah, no, I think all of that's accurate. We did about, by midsummer, we had probably done 75 to 80 teachers, and we were well around the bend. By the time we got to the middle of August, we had quite a few resignations. We probably ended up somewhere about 110 new hires, which is, for us, probably about right. Absent those few years where we did a lot of extra, additional hiring, we're probably right about right. So I think I am pleased with the level of staffing in my office. It helped us to absorb kind of busy times, and we were able to turn folks around, new candidates, much more quickly than we have in the past, so that was a really good thing. And most of my folks are now cross-trained so they can help each other. So we actually turned around, I think, a quicker hiring process this year than we have in years past, so that was a real plus for us. We then in August turned to the tutor hiring. We had, as we do every year, a flood of resignations right at the end. Which, as you know, puts us really in a problem spot because those are all folks that are assigned to students. So as we opened school, Kelly and her team were really scrambling to make sure that we had everybody covered. And we're still continuing to do some hiring in that area to get those people up to speed. The other thing I want to say is we're now turning really in earnest to the sub-recruitment push. You may have seen some signs around town. We've done a little bit more signage this year. And we've done some advertising with the help of an outside recruiter. And there's one of our new brochures. We are doing a number of things to try to abate some of the problems that we had last year. They include a combination of strategies, putting some more building-based subs in, particularly at the high school. That trickles into not only coverage issues, having teachers in classrooms when there's absences, but also into bottom line dollars. When we pay one sub, we pay about $100 a day. When we pay teachers to cover an 8-period day at $35 a head, we significantly exceed our sub number, our coverage number. So we really looked at a combination of building-based subs and interns, folks that are in teaching programs to come in and help to cover those. And we're rolling that model out in a number of different ways along the elementary schools and also in the special education area. So that's a bit of a work in progress. We reached out to all of the folks who had applied for certified teaching positions in Appletrack, so it was over 1,000 people that were folks that did not get jobs when we finished the hiring process. We had quite a few people, several dozen, I would say maybe 50, who have come back and said we'd really like to sub. So we're really making a push to connect with those people that, for whatever reason, contacted the district initially and are not working here yet, to try to pull them into the district and hopefully get them some exposure and some experience. What we're hoping we can do as that process gets rolling is to do a little bit more training of those folks so that we don't, so we have high satisfaction for people that are doing the work, but also that we have a better trained group of folks. So that's something that'll be a work in progress. So all of those things have been ongoing all summer. I will just say a note about summer school. One of the things that had concerned us about summer school staffing was the consolidation in just a few locations. We were worried that teachers may not take summer teaching assignments because they were in their buildings this year. That didn't seem to be a problem for us. We fully staffed up pretty quickly. And I think we have some other challenges with how we staff for next year with that consolidation model, but I think it worked well for us in a number of ways, so we were pleased with looking at that. So kind of on the horizon for you, I'll come back probably in October and give you kind of a demographic overview of the class of, I guess I'll call them the class of 2018-19, the teachers that have come in this year. They're a really interesting group of people, as they always are, diverse and from lots of different backgrounds. So I think it'll be fun to show you, those folks that have come in this year as well. Yeah, so we've placed a couple of interims, principals. Mr. Sanacero, you might recall, retired at the end of June. And we have placed in his position an interim principal whose name is Kristen Bradley. Kristen was a language arts specialist for us in Morris Street, who was affected by that reduction in force that we did a couple of years ago, and was poised to go back in as the language arts specialist when she came to interview for the interim position. She's very familiar with the staff and enjoys very broad support among that group, and we are really excited about having her in the position. She'll serve as the interim for this year because it was so late in the game for us to look for a new principal, but she will be eligible to apply for the position if she chooses to do so in the spring. The other interim principal is at Ellsworth Avenue School. Marnie Durkin, you might remember, was the assistant principal at Park Avenue. And with Dr. Rocco's movement into a new central office position, that opening became available. And again, given the lateness in the year, we thought it was most appropriate to put an interim there as well. So Marnie has been getting back into the principal game at Ellsworth and getting everybody organized there and getting that school off the ground. So that's been running very smoothly. And it's nice to have a veteran in there as well. So that's makes it a little bit easier to start for us. And then in her position at Park Avenue, Michelle Tarsi, who was a math specialist for us, who's been at Park Avenue for quite a long time, was selected by Dave Krafik as the interim assistant principal. So she will serve there for the year. So it was kind of a domino effect. And we've had to backfill her position as a specialist, which we'll do on a temporary basis for this year while Michelle Tarsi gets her feet wet in the administrative ranks.
Whole fleet of interim people.
Yeah, so it'll make you all busy on those committees in the spring when we do some new hiring.
Here we were so bored.
Yeah.
We have a lot of talented people, and it's a nice aspirin opportunity. See how they do, and that's the best interviewing people I can do, is actually go and do. So we'll see what happens. I think that's...
I have later in the evening for executive session and possible action in public session. I also spent the summer negotiating and getting a tentative agreement on 2 of the 3 contracts that are outstanding, so we'll bring those to you later tonight to talk about. And then at some point, I think we should put on the agenda a litigation update for you all, just so you can see what other pieces of litigation are out there that I've sort of heard over with outside counsel generally, but I can give you some updates on where we stand with those as well.
Thank you.
I was going to update on Rome, but I have a question about
I
that.
do.
Go ahead, Manuel.
When it comes to the tutors, is the reason why we have a late kind of like drop off, is it because of benefits, or like they hold on to the benefits over the summer?
I don't think so. And the reason why I say that is twofold. One, now with our September 1 renewal date on all of our insurance policies, everybody's covered through the summer.
Okay.
So, a lot of times we used to get late resignations because people wanted to make sure they had their, so we publicize that you are covered all the way through. If you would like to resign, you're still going to keep your insurance through the summer because you essentially paid.
So they're aware of that.
Right. The other thing, and it may take a little bit of time to get some traction, but with that para-tutor arbitration award that came out, you'll remember that group moved to an HRA, healthcare reimbursement account. We did historically have some problems, you're right, Manuela, on once the HSA cash went into that account full vote, we would have people take the cash and then they would resign after that, middle of September. And that left us having to hire someone new and then go through the process again. With the shift to a new system where it's really just essentially a debit, a credit that you work off of, I think we'll continue to see that abate. We also split the payment up over several points in the year, so I don't necessarily think it's driven anymore by benefits. I do think part of it is that when it's time to come back, those people say, oh, we gotta find something else, or I don't want to do that anymore. We have had challenges filling, we need an awful lot of them, several hundred of them. It's not among our highest paid bargaining group, so I think that's part of it as well.
I just think it's something that we really need to consider in the future, how to fix it, because it's a population that really depends on consistency. And it's really important to attract and maintain whoever's working with them. It's a big shift when we have a special education or special needs student paired up with someone, and then that person constantly shifting. And you can see the correlation on their outcomes with that shift, because they build that relationship, takes a while to build it, then they build a rapport, that's their support person, and the next one come in. So
I think to that end too, the other thing that I've tried really hard to do in the last couple of years is to really work with the union on crafting professional development for those people that gives them some skills that they may take to another kind of a job, but that is sort of professionally and personally rewarding for them to go through that professional development piece and get those skills. And I think that's a real key to retaining some of those people. We've also looked at some of them to see what kind of college credits they have, if we might urge them to a teaching realm or some other kind of job. So we're looking at kind of non-monetary programs that might increase satisfaction and retention. So, but I think it's a really good point. It's a hard job. It's very hard.
Okay. Part of the start of school, but I just want to go on record and thank the teachers and the administrators, even with all of the heat and all of that, everybody handled it very well. Kids were productive, they were working, I mean, they would be inside mainly, obviously they couldn't go out, but the teachers did, were very mindful of the work they had to do and got through it very well, so I want to publicly thank them for that. The enrollment has been another thing. We're growing. I think Kevin and Joe were about 13,500.
No, easy.
Where are we at?
11,000.
Oh, 11,000.
11,500, I think it's 11,550.
Who's counting?
The other 2,000.
Easy.
Yeah.
So the 11,000.
But we've had to do some, the classes have been going from 700, thereabouts, to 900 in terms of numbers. So we've had to sister school a few of the schools. I think I sent a note to the board where we did have to do it. Just recently, actually, we had a few people leave one of the schools and were able to offer it back to the parents who had to go to a non-district school. And so we're able to accommodate that. But the board's going to be faced with this for the next few years. The facility committee has to meet. We have to look at what we're going to do to accommodate the students. Our enrollment, we're at about, the elementary schools, we were trying to strive for classes 22, 23, 21, or 25, 26. We have kindergarten, 22, 23. Some schools are maybe 18 or 19, depending on how many sections are there. But overall, pretty well saturated. The high school with new graduation requirements and the increase in numbers, we did add some FTEs in the operational budget, but we've had to create a number of overloads, probably to the tune of how many FTEs up there?
Depending on what Dean was talking about, even this morning, I'd say about 1.8 FTEs, give or take. You've got
Could be.
three
Could
groups
be.
so far with 5.
Could be, yeah, could be too. But here's part of the problem that, and you may hear some of this being a board member, you may need another section of math. You may need another section of science. And you can't go out and hire a person for one period. So we have the opportunity to call an overload, where a teacher teaches their section plus one more. Well, it's not so desirable. It pays not so badly, but it is quite a bit of work. You're buying a prep period, and it's very difficult. And we have to sometimes make that assignment. So we're doing that right now. We have to do that in English, we do it in math, we do it in science. Now we're looking at some other areas that we may have to increase it. So one of the things that we may have to do is cobble it together, see if we get full-time FTEs to do that, rather than just breaking down the sections. So that's been an unusual challenge. In elementary, what did you add there?
Yeah, the big growth this year, I'd say we Village Primary, we had 2 teachers, one for kindergarten, one for first. If you look on your board report, up just shy of 11% this year. We think a lot of that growth is coming from the west side of town. We're going to drill that out more as we get a little deeper into some of this stuff. The enrollment right now, you're 895 kindergartners so far. You're still registering as we speak. So I think you're still going to settle probably at that 920 number, give or take. The big growth is there. The other growth changes are incremental and don't move classes. I mean, it's not enough to collapse the grades, so it's not any big movement there. We did our shift. There's some big numbers at Shelter again in first grade. Those are large. King Street, same thing. But again, the big bubble this time is really Village Primary this time. We also had additions at middle school level for some of the art, music, and PE to deal with some additions there. Those smaller roles that got issued. As Dr. Sal said at Danbury High School, you're seeing this melting up of kids. And now you're talking your 6th grade class now is 900. 7th grade and 8th, you're too small, it's 814, 866. As those continue to march through, those portables are going to be very key as we go. Rogers Park is hovering around 1,000. When we had STEM program there, they were like 1,050, 1,075. So we took the whole program out, Rogers dropped. So Rogers Park right now is actually ahead of Broadview in their numbers, so, continued growth across the board.
I just add one thing to that too, is the other thing that I think makes this particularly tricky for us is that week that school started, we started on Friday, the reception center, the registration center was doing 40 to 50 kids a day on those last couple of days. So it's hard for us, we make a big push for early enrollment, but it happens every year, and it happened even when we were out in schools. But it makes it particularly challenging for us to try to target where we think enrollment's going to be and how much staff we're going to need. So it's tricky.
Yeah, I got to shout out to Dr. Mead, thank you. Because in the past, some of the problems we were faced with, when we didn't have that center, and people would have to wait to register, we would have, 75, 80, 100 kids not in school, they'd be waiting. But because of what you've done there, night assessments and Saturdays and what have you, we've been able to get most of our kids into school as they, throughout the summer, so that's been a big plus. Kids are in class doing the work, not sitting at home waiting to be assessed, so that's been a big plus. Thank you for that. That's gone real well. ACE has about 90 students, which is good. Normally about 70, so we have 90 there. And I think the reach rebound is also filled. There's probably 40 students there as well. We'll have Jackie here and also she'll do a presentation on adult ed, as you mentioned. But adult ed is just getting on its way.
The board will continue to hear about enrollment in classroom size at elementary as so we've divided, I think, our last space in South Street, and we really are kind of badly out of space and options to make more space. Even sister schooling is hard because other schools are full, so there's a lot of that jockeying around. And that.
Okay.
What do you mean by sister schooling?
What we try to do, when we did a study a few years ago, we looked at pocket redistricting, and in that pocket redistricting, we put some schools together that could make sense in terms of the boundaries and space. So whenever we do that, it sounds better than anything else on the sister school.
So is that like Millridge Primary and King Street?
It could, it's an overflow school. One that we had King Street and would you look with
King Street Primary with Millridge Primary, they had a large kindergarten grade. But actually, some kids unenrolled, so we kind of, at least for now, they're at acceptable levels so far. And we did just sister stabbing up in grade 1 for kindergarten.
So, what Joe was pointing out, those are all filled. So we're going to have to,
I'm just trying not to move a problem where you're just putting kids in already filled classroom sections.
And do we have a capacity limit at ACE? Because it seems like each year it keeps growing and growing.
Not that I know of, usually when I address that problem, the only answer I get on capacity is how many can you put in the cafeteria or gym if you have enough exits. That's the sort of thing I come with. So, when we did that study at that time, in my mind, I'm thinking 115, 120 students could be there. 125 cluster, but we haven't reached that yet. But no way they're going to get a cafeteria that they eat in those rooms, and they just do things differently there. But that's the only capacity limitation. Your large spaces and your exits, so we're in compliance. Anything else with enrollment? I know you got a facilities committee. I don't know.
Yeah, so your finance committee meeting, talk about through your budget, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said ACE. One thing with ACE, I mentioned it last year, a few years ago, when they were looking at a new accountability system, ACE was put on its own, and the state was going to recraft how they assisted and worked with alternative education programs, and they never did that. And they've been holding them accountable to a standard which is really difficult for them to ever achieve. So we've talked to the state, and they advised us to do what other towns are doing, go back to what we call a district program. So that's what they are, their district program, which makes it possible because they receive, those students, as you know, receive like Danbury High School diploma. There is no step diploma for ACE. It's a program, so that is starting this year. So, and they've made some wonderful gains there. And if you look at the literature, they look at them as a failing school. In my view, it's not a failing school. And the state has just not put in the time to create a special rubrics to work with alternative schools. John is our new principal there. He's been working really diligently. As you know, he was an interim for us when Sandy was out 2 years ago. He's done a great job there. And they're accepting students, which we're happy to see early. The previous model, students would get to Danbury High School, and if they didn't do well, they'd have the opportunity to go to ACE. So what John has done with our support, if students are appropriately placed at ACE, they're taking them before they get to Danbury and fail, which is helpful for the youngsters.
But they do have an application process in order to
They
get
still have an application process. They still have an application process. Calendar.
Hello again, everyone. So my office is tasked with leading the calendar effort. So for the 19, we have a draft calendar for your review for the 19-20 school
The
year.
one in your packet is an old one. You should get a new one. I don't Debbie handed it out to you. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Yeah, this is the 9/11.
Yep, that's it.
Are you making nervous?
That's okay. Stick around. That's worse.
So the 2019-2020 draft calendar for your review, there's just a couple minor tweaks. I just wanted to highlight them for you. One, we have a Wednesday start date in August 28th, which gives us 3 days to start the school year before Labor Day as opposed to the one day we had this year. Two, we have an early release for TVAL. Before it was early release, and as opposed to early release, it would be a 1 hour release. So just to focus your attention, it's September 24th and then May 19th. So only be an hour release as opposed to the early dismissal time. Also, the last day of school is June 17th, which would be a 185-day calendar. If we don't use it on days, that would be great. We will get out of school on June 10th.
The other thing you might want to note, you want to talk about Veterans Day a little bit?
Sure. So we are investigating the idea of honoring our veterans by opening school on Veterans Day, 2021 calendar. We're beginning to meet with stakeholders in the community to get feedback to understand what this day could look like. Our thought is if we do implement Veterans Day in open school, we have some type of hybrid model where we would have commemorative activities along with traditional teaching and find ways to perhaps invite veterans into the schools and find ways to honor them during school as opposed to being off in school. We understand maybe different viewpoints on this, so we want to make sure we honor this process, do this process and honor the appropriate people. So we'll be inviting and interviewing and getting feedback from folks along the way.
So if we approve this and for some reason we get to it soon, we haven't decided yet. There's a great perspective. We sat down with him the other day and he gave us a pretty good strategy about how to begin the dialogue. So we'll see how it goes. And he admitted many districts throughout the state are honoring veterans. Most of the districts, surrounding districts, also do it that way. But we're just going to have to take our time and speak to all of the veterans and work it out. So when we get down to approving this calendar, for some reason it changed and it's modified.
Yeah.
Right now it's a day. One of the things, just so you know, when it comes to these things, also Columbus Day is a PD day. Joe and Kim have been working with the groups in terms of it's a holiday, so that there is some labor impacts on these things, but they will roll out as we negotiate contracts. But it's just a draft. We sent it to the unions. They'll give us some input, and then we'll get it back to the board.
Okay, all set. Absolutely.
Question. Dr. Sal, so did Commissioner Sargent feel that it's a good option for our district, or did he express any?
You know, I think what he reflected on was that doing it as a commemorative holiday would elevate everyone's understanding of, in particular kids, the value of veterans. So he thought it was something we should pursue. He couldn't say whether or not we would how it's going to roll out. But he thought the folks here, if we went about the right way, he felt it would be, they would receive it in a way that would appreciate the dialogue and it could happen. Yeah. But, he didn't come in on that, but that was his perspective.
I understand. There are some schools that I've read to across the country where they do, it's almost like a day of service towards veterans, where they have like a fundraising activity leading up to the day, and then that day, that's when they also present the veterans with some sort of like donation for a community project or something to do. So I bet that, as we had discussion before, I just feel that the kids today just staying at home, it's up to the parent to really educate them why they're staying at home, or we feel it's our job as part of the school district to really allow them to have the exposed that curriculum understanding of the day of service really things and what, how we can best honor them. But I'm for the usage of that day in school to really teach the kids about the meaning of the day. For sure.
One of the examples we use right outside of Rogers Park, they have service. There are no kids there. We could have the kids just leave, go, and surround, and really make it a meaningful activity. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities, and that's the lens that we were looking at every time with. So we're kind of hopeful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Well, one thing, just for the record, Mr. Santos let me know earlier that he was going to be late, and he has arrived, so he's present.
Can you take it in the information?
Absolutely.
So you
The Alliance grant.
yeah. You guys want to talk a little bit about the Alliance grant?
Yep, that's just, we're going to talk about that.
So this is kind of the 6th year, 7th year of our Alliance grant funding now. In the board packet, you'll see a breakdown of staffing that goes to the grant. It's a $9.4 million grant. As the board knows, the grant now is, in a sense, we still have to keep a substantial new model, which is 51% new, which in theory our all-day kindergarten is still new for the metrics inside the grant. I know Kevin Walston, Dr. Casimiro were working on the grant the last, I'll say month and a half or so. There's certain metrics and benchmarks we have to meet. The only new substantial change you'll see in that grant will be some of the administrators inside there. We did shift around, as the grant board knows, the organizational chart. The ELL coordinator falls in there for K-5. We are looking to establish a new SRBI coordinator, K-12, inside there. That would be the only, I'd say, substantial change you'll see inside that grant. The bulk of it is your all-day K teachers, your ELL, your social workers, again, following the same theory that the board has seen the last few years. We do in a sense, a transfer of folks over to make the operational budget balance. You'll see the language arts and math coaches inside there now, as the board knows it's a big initiative to keep them inside the grant and to kind of restore them. This is one way that we use to restore them back into the operation. So that's, it's kind of 365 on the grant list right now. There is a timeline we have to go through on the grant evaluation of the state. We're now, at least I think, that the DESI is the, whatever he's called now, the state turnaround office. It's at his level, and after that it goes to the commission, I believe, to find.
Kevin, or anything to add? No? The other thing is, that this budget, as we're finding out right with the election, right now it is the budget we have, and my hope is it continues. We are in line for additional funds, but with the election the way it is, we're not certain it's going to happen. So that's another unforeseen decision that we have to make when we develop our budget this year.
Yeah, the brand new government, obviously the 2-year budget is done, so a brand new biannual budget. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, I didn't make my day, but anyway, it's going to help us tremendously this year. And the other thing for the board's knowledge, we've had to use our Title I funds to help us. That's about $2.2 million thereabouts. And that money was used in different ways. We were allowed to give us some flexibilities, but that money was going towards the restoration of the coaches that we permitted us to put it back in. We have to rely on that more and more. The priority grant is 1.6. That money is mostly salaries.
One additional ELL teachers, the other piece of your all-day kindergarten teachers are inside there, and I believe there's a few.
So my point is, guys, we have nowhere to go. I mean, you think about, you cobble together Alliance, title, and, out of our budget, that's gonna be almost just about 17–18% of our budget. It's going to be those monies. And if something episodic happens in Hartford, to remove that, we're gonna be faced with some major problems.
Don't ruin the.
Oh, well, you know what?
My job's
I got shared misery.
Depressing's later.
Yeah. But that is, I think what we gotta do is, what our legislators has really worked hard this year about why it's important to maintain that and the things that we're doing.
Yeah, the new formula goes into effect, but it's not clear on what that's gonna come through the line at. I mean, there's all kinds of questions on whether it's a 10 or 15-year phase in. I have not painted anything on. Oh, unless the DECO supervisor, that's now 1.0 FTE inside that range as well, so that's supporting that also.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Board chairperson's report. Cave and Caps Convention is November 16th and 17th in Groton. Any further information on that yet, but I'll try and get some more. Put that forward. Also, I received a email from Mr. Janelli, so I'll just read into it here. Mr. Chairman, as you know, due to constant increase in enrollment of our students, this is creating a space problem in the schools, and I am concerned about safety issues. Therefore, as chair, can you make as a board goal, which coincides with the superintendent goal, that we, through Sites and Facilities Committee, research the problem, and by the end of the year, come up with a proposal that by the board that we can study, that we can have a study which will satisfy this problem. Thank you, Richard Janelli. So I guess in Sites and Facilities, we can take a look at that. I'm going to ask Mr. Janelli more or less exactly what he's talking about, and he didn't give any specifics, but obviously our perpetual increase in student enrollment in overburdened schools is creating problems. So it's probably a good idea to take a look to make sure that we don't burst out at the seams, and we can make sure that we address any overcrowding situations that we come if they do create some safety issues.
The board had asked me explicitly to make sure that's embedded in one of the goals.
Yeah.
We have it in there, embedded in there as one, as he said. So.
Yeah, it's in yours, and I guess he wants to create something through Sites and Facilities. So. In addition, to help support.
Show me the money.
There you go. Board reports, communications, and comments. Does anybody have anything that they would like to add?
Oh, I just happened upon the Freedom of Information workshop that's being held at City Hall. It's free for us if you'd like to go have, yeah.
Good enough.
I'll be there. Mr. Bennett.
Mr. Hennick. Okay, that's very interesting. Does anybody else have any other comments or?
I just have another comment through the chair, and I was thinking about this today. Is it all possible that the superintendent evaluation committee could meet the last week in the month? Or do we want to do it briefly before our next board meeting? There are some items that we really need to go over and discuss before we get into the new transition of the superintendent evaluation. And I think we came out with some good discussion in our last one, and we need to wrap that up and not be in a rush when we go into our meetings. So you tell me the date. I want to do it.
I'm for the 26th is our next meeting at 7. Would 5:30 on?
That's fine.
On the 26th work for everybody? All right.
Thank you.
5:30. Thank you. Super. Ms. Palmaris.
Yes, so one announcement I wanted to share with my fellow board members and thank those who are going to attend after Sal, board member Santos, there's the American Dream Awards Gala we have several finalists. They're all from our district, but we have several finalists for DHS graduates. We have someone from our adult education program who's also in a running for $2,000 scholarship. And we also have our very own Sandy Sanchez, who's also on the running for $2,000 award for Person of the Year. It's at the Hamburger Colonnade next Saturday, the 22nd. And I would love to have you all there. Usually we have around 400 people from the community attend. And also, this will also be a great way for you to meet some folks in our community and get acquainted. So that is on the happier note. And on more of a question and in search for clarification. Over the summer, I attended a few community meetings and heard some stories about our lunch policy. If I could just ask for you, Mr. Chairman, to look into some of the stories that I've heard is that if a child doesn't have money in the account, or if they haven't paid and they got on the lunch line and go through the cashier, that the lunch that the kid paid for is literally discarded and thrown away like in front of them. And there was a video that was kind of circulating online of this happening at the Danbury High School cafeteria. So if we can just look into that incident to see if it's a singular incident that happened, but not something that's actually a reaction that is widespread. I think that regardless of the circumstances that some of our students may not be able to have lunch, I think that the whole act of literally throwing food away from a child, if that is so allegedly, that is what happened, but that is not a very good show of support to that student or a good example for them. So if we can just look into that.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know that I attended with Dr. Mead and Judy Coco a presentation at Windsor High School at the end of August. It was Debbie Irving, she's the author of the book Waking Up White, and it was exploring the issues related to race, white privilege, and how to combat racism in our community. And I think there was such a good turnout that they are offering 3 nights, September 17th, the history of racism. Again, this is up at Windsor High School in Windsor, Connecticut. And they're doing this workshop September 24th, understanding white privilege, and October 1st, anti-racism strategies and tools. So I didn't bring copies, but it's something that nephews and love. If anybody's interested,
Thank you.
I just wanted to express my appreciation for my colleagues, my friends, and really family members, and the community in general, for the support that they've given us, my wife and I, through what has been the most challenging period of our life. Losing a child is a parent's worst nightmare, yet the uplifting part of this tragedy has been the support that we've received from all of you here and people throughout the community, people in general who just have heard from me here or know my wife from high school, we don't know them, but they stop us at the grocery store and say, "I'm so sorry for your loss," and they share a story with us. So I just wanted to take a moment here to thank the community members, to thank all my colleagues here, and every single one of you who have done so much to support my family through this time. Thank you.
And does anybody else have anything else to add? No more comments? Okay, at that point, I think we need to move to executive session. Motion to adjourn by Ms. Molinaro. We have a second. Well, we're gonna, we don't have to adjourn Okay. Motion to go, Rusty. Motion to go into executive session. Seconded by Mr. Santos. All in favor?